Thanks, Gil. March 8th marks International Women's Day worldwide. And to recognize this day, the AFL's annual International Women's Day was introduced in 1990. This award recognizes a sister in the labor movement for their outstanding commitment and leadership to the trade union movement and to their community. We recognize a leader dedicated to equity and who has brought an intersectional feminist lens in their union and community work. They are dedicated to labor activism and may include having or have held a position in their union, involvement in their local, and within provincial and federal labor coalitions. Since last year we had to cancel our AFL midterm, tonight we will be recognizing both the 2020 and the 2021 award recipients. It is our tradition to present the recipient with bread and roses. Bread and roses symbolizes the fight we have as feminists, unionists, and as working class members. The bread is for the want of food and clothing and shelter, but we also want respect, meaningful friendships, to enjoy hobbies, music, and art, and that is why we fight for roses too. It is an honor and a pleasure to present the 2020 International Women's Day Award to Sister Ivana Niblett. Ivana was nominated for this prestigious award for her tireless work in the labor movement and her community. From being instrumental in making the merger of the Telecommunications Union and the United Steelworkers a success as a business agent and the national vice president, to then joining the United Steelworkers Local 1207 as a business agent, and now as a labor relations officer for the United Nurses of Alberta, Ivana has always been active in her union, and she now holds the position of First Vice President of the United Steelworkers Local 1207. As chair of Local 1207's Women of Steel Committee, she led her committee, union, and the broader labor movement in supporting the Jessica Martel Memorial Foundation. You may remember at a previous AFL convention, Ivana was successful in us raising $26,000 for that cause. And since then, the labor movement went on to raise close to $100,000. And this was instrumental in making the dream come true of Jesse's house, the 9,000 square foot shelter, which is now a reality. Ivana has always participated in the AFL, instructing courses, AFL schools, attending many pride parades, and other functions on the AFL. Interesting fact, my first labor school, Ivana was one of the co-instructors, and I remember it so fondly. She also sits on the Workers' Compensation Board, and that's a representative for labor. She is a smart, dedicated, hard-working labor representative and truly worthy of this award. Congratulations, Ivana.
Hello, brothers and sisters. The International Women's Day Award. What an absolute honor. I would like to thank my union, United Steelworkers, Local 1-207, and my president, Brother Ray White, for nominating me. I am honored to be a part of that union and to sit as first vice president on our local executive board. This is a very prestigious award, and I know so many sisters in our labor movement that are deserving of an award such as this. And I stand before you humbled and proud that the AFL Executive Council chose me to be the recipient for 2020. Being a part of the labor movement has afforded me extraordinary opportunities to help advance the rights of working people and to bring issues such as domestic violence to the forefront. In 2017, our local was successful in bargaining language for domestic violence leave into a collective agreement. It was the first such language anywhere in Western Canada, and now similar language appears in collective agreements all across Canada in various industries. One of my proudest moments was right here at AFL Convention in 2017, when our labor leaders and delegates in attendance dug deep into their pockets and raised over $27,000 for the Jessica Martel Memorial Foundation. Those funds went directly to help build Jesse's house, a much needed shelter for families fleeing domestic violence. The shelter also provides supports for children who have lived through trauma and abuse, and their person-centered approach provides empowerment and promotes healing to break the cycle once and for all. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. I am truly grateful, and I commit to you that I will continue to advocate for not only domestic violence, but for other issues such as equality for women and diverse groups, public education, public health care, and the needs of all working people. Thank you and solidarity.
Thank you, Ivana. It is also an honor and pleasure to present the 2021 AFL International Women's Day Award, and the recipient of that award is Sister Luz Jones. Luz is a proud CUPE 474 member and a proud union member overall. Luz works as a licensed practical nurse at the Salvation Army Stepping Stone Supportive Residence and has been an active steward at her site for 6 years. If you have attended a labor rally protest or gone out to support striking workers in Alberta, you would probably recognize Luz. She consistently attends and supports all unions when support has been needed. And she's been out there for the Boilermakers, for AUPE, UNA, and of course, for CUPE. Luz says that when the AFL needs help, I will be there. And she delivers. Luz was born in Peru and moved to Canada 35 years ago. She had started attending rallies, including rallies for women's rights, while still a student in Peru. It helped shape her passion for women's rights by observing all that a woman needed to do to survive in her native country. Luz acknowledges that women need to cover so many things such as family, work, and the household responsibilities. She is also a cancer survivor. When Luz moved to Canada, she faced discrimination, as someone learning the English language, as an immigrant, and as a woman. Luz has been involved in the yearly organization of International Women's Day events for the past 6 years. She has also been involved in the planning and execution of the Take Back a Night events here in Edmonton. And she has been an active supporter of the Migrante organization. Luz is a strong advocate for human rights and for women's rights, and is a very worthy recipient of this award. Congratulations to Luz Jones.
Thank you for this award, and thank you to my local 474 for nominating me. Women are the majority. Yes, we are majority, no more minority. As women, we work from home. We give our love and care, and we do the same in the workplace. Sometimes women don't feel like they can speak up. I feel like our unions give us the ability to have a voice, and our collective voice is very much needed. Thank you for unions, for existing. Without all of you, we will be very much open to increase discrimination and inequality. When I moved to Canada in 1985, I faced discrimination. Some of this was due to my struggles with the English language and being an immigrant, and some was due to being a woman. When experiencing this discrimination, I didn't respond with anger, but instead used it as a learning experience for my own personal growth and to help others grow. From this, I learned the value of the unions do to help the struggle of women and their rights. As a worker and as a woman, we decide what workers' conditions they need to be safe and keep everyone safe. Again, thank you for this award, and I hope to see all upcoming rallies that we know will be. Because working women have responded by playing a leading role, standing up and fighting for inequity and injustice and better future. Long live International Women's Day. The women united, they never be defeated. Thank you.
Congratulations, Ivana and Luz. The annual Mayday Solidarity Award was created in 1989 and is given to an Alberta trade unionist who has made outstanding contributions to the work of advancing workers' rights and worker solidarity, both within and outside the labor movement. Since our AFL midterm last year was canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic, today we will be honoring both the 2020 and the 2021 award recipients. So with no further ado, it is my great pleasure to present the 2020 Mayday Solidarity Award to my dear friend and former partner in all things AFL, Sister Nancy Furlong. Honestly, it seems like just yesterday that Nancy and I were giving these awards out together, and now I'm giving one to her, and it's truly an honor. Nancy has an extensive history of activism, advocacy, and leadership, and she is widely known and respected in the Alberta labor movement. Nancy started out her career working in labor relations for AUPE, where she quickly earned a reputation for being a fierce and successful advocate for her members' rights. Whether it was arbitrations or negotiations, Nancy proved early on that she was a force to be reckoned with. And because of her clearly demonstrated competence and energy, she was eventually promoted to the position of the executive director for the entire union. Nancy has always lived by the credo, a rolling stone gathers no moss. So after accomplishing everything that she could at AUPE, she moved on to the Non-Academic Staff Association at the U of A, where she helped make a big and positive change to their approach to both labor relations and membership engagement. That's where I approached Nancy in 2007 to ask her if she'd be willing to take another big jump. And after more than a few beers, I was eventually able to convince her to run for the position of Secretary Treasurer at the AFL, a position that she held from 2007 to 2013. During her time at the AFL, Nancy worked on many files with many affiliates, large and small, to bring people together around issues that matter. She accomplished an awful lot in her 6 years at the AFL, but probably her biggest accomplishment was working with me and the Executive Council to revolutionize our approach to political action. It's not an overstatement to say that her work on the AFL's political action strategy, which we still use today, helped lay the foundations for the victory of the Notley government in 2015. Nancy's appetite for new challenges and opportunities led her to leave the Federation a few years later, and she left the province for that matter, to take a position as director of the Society for Energy Professionals in Toronto. But after a few years down east, she missed home, and frankly, we missed her. So she returned to Alberta and to her home at NASA to take a position as Director of Operations for the union. Nancy has always believed that the labor movement has an important role to play in pushing for societal improvements that benefit everyone. That's what motivated her to bring forward the idea of pushing for an Alberta dental fee guide. Since Ralph Klein eliminated the former dental fee guide, dental costs in Alberta have skyrocketed higher than in any other province. Through a petition, building support from other unions and partners, and government lobbying, Nancy convinced the Notley government to bring back the dental fee guide for Alberta and push dentists to reduce their fees. While dental fees remain high compared to other provinces, the fee guide has now provided a base of cost for use for benefit plans and a comparator to assist the general public in shopping for a reasonably priced dentist. One important part of Nancy's recent work has been bringing NASA into the House of Labor. She played a leading role in communicating the benefits of affiliation to the AFL, to NASA's executive board, and then to the NASA membership. Nancy has always believed that unions working together can accomplish more than they can alone. Nancy also sits on the Labor Relations Board, where she draws on her wealth of experience, which includes representing unions in rights and interest arbitration, contract negotiation, and administration. Nancy's unique perspective comes from the variety of roles that she's held while working full-time for unions, including representation, education, administration, and management. Nancy is a dear friend to me and to many others. She's also an outstanding Alberta labor leader and is well deserving of recognition for her work. So congratulations, Nancy, well earned.
Thank you so much, Gil. I'd like to thank both Gil and Siobhan Bythorn for the invitation to accept my award at this year's convention. I was surprised and honored when I learned I would be awarded the 2020 Mayday Solidarity Award. To join the distinguished list of prior recipients was not expected, and I want to thank Elizabeth Johansson and the NASA executive for nominating me and the leaders of AFL for supporting the nomination. It is great to be given the opportunity to once again attend and to address the AFL convention. It feels like yesterday that Gil and I were presenting these awards together. In the short 8 years, 8 years is a long time, since I left my role in leadership at the Federation, many of the colleagues I worked with there have transitioned, as I have, to other roles in the movement or to a return in activism in activism in retirement. To be recognized by the younger guard of the labor movement is moving, and I very much appreciate it. To those leaders and the rest of you who are attending this convention in these difficult times, you are the future of the labor movement, and you are the future of our province. Much of what's happening in Alberta right now gives me a sense of deja vu. It's like we're in the same battle that we were fighting in the early 2000s, in the 1990s, in the 80s, and now I'm really aging myself. Someone I consider a mentor and who many of you will know, Winston Gerlach, introduced me to a song many years ago, and it stays with me. It was recorded by Judy Collins, and it's hard to find, but it's worth looking for if you feel the urge. It's called Freedom, and the chorus goes, freedom doesn't come like a bird on a wing, doesn't come down like the falling rain. Freedom is a hard-won thing. You have to work for it, fight for it, day and night for it, and every generation has to do it all again. I feel like I've helped my generation with the fight, and I want to say thanks to you for both the recognition that this award gives me and for being the leaders and activists we're going to need for the next generation to do it all again. Have a wonderful and safe convention.
Thank you, Nancy. For 2021, we were honored to award the Mayday Solidarity Award to Sister Trudy Thompson. Trudy became a member of the Health Sciences Association of Alberta as a laboratory technologist in 1978, a mere 43 years ago. But she actually signed her first union card 3 years prior to that in Saskatchewan, where her parents and older brother, who was a former national president of CUPW, helped her form strong union and social justice roots. Trudy was first elected as a board member to HSA in 2007 and was elected as the VP of Finance by the other board members a year later. She carried on in that position until HSA restructured to have a full-time vice president. After serving as a district advisor, she was elected as HSA's full-time VP in September 2016, where she has been a diligent, articulate, and frankly calming influence ever since. Trudy has also been an advocate for numerous social justice causes. On top of the work she does directly for HSA's 27,000 members, she is the current chair of Friends of Medicare, a board which I sit on with her. She sits as NUPSHI's National Executive Board, and she has been influential and well-respected as a member of the AFL Executive Council and Executive Committee. Trudy acted as a champion for pensions and a champion for change for the National Union of Public and General Employees, or NUPSHI for short, and she rode NUPSHI's Big Green Bus as part of their 2014 All Together Now campaign. Trudy has been a CLC NUPSHI delegate 3 times to the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women and has a plan for HSA's regular attendance to that event to continue in the future. Under her direction, the board of directors sent 4 women and 2 men to attend the Women Deliver Conference in 2019. HSA was one of the only Canadian unions to send men to that event. This was something Trudy pushed for, understanding the importance of raising men's understanding of women's issues. Trudy then advocated for and endorsed the establishment of HSA's first Women's Committee. As a board member and a VP and a trade unionist, Trudy has attended innumerable picket lines, protests, Labor Day barbecues, pride parades, Mother's Day and Father's Day events, just to name a few. She's worked tirelessly on behalf of her members. She has helped to guide HSA and she has helped guide the HSA board of directors through numerous and significant changes. Through it all, Trudy has modeled the values of the labor movement and is a living, breathing example of the power of cooperation and solidarity. Trudy is retiring this year, and she will be sorely missed by her colleagues at HSA and all of us around the AFL Executive Council table. It is with great pleasure that I present the 2021 Mayday Solidarity Award to our friend, our sister, Trudy Thompson. Trudy?
Wow, what an honor. I have to admit it's a bit overwhelming. When I look at the list of previous recipients, I see so many names that I've looked up to over the years, and I'm a bit humbled to be added to that group. I can honestly say that when I first joined HSA board in 2007, I didn't even know what the AFL was. I could never have anticipated the many places that my union involvement would take me and the experiences I would have. It's been a steep learning curve for me, and many years later, I appreciate my union, other unions, our labor federation, in ways I could never have imagined. I appreciate the acknowledgement of my history in the labor movement. It started a long time ago, and my contributions. And I very much thank those who nominated me. But as we all know, we don't do this work for the accolades. Sometimes we don't get very many, and we certainly don't do it alone. Thank goodness we don't do it alone. So we're in some tough times. We're dealing with a health crisis that we could never have anticipated last this long, nor affect us so profoundly. We have a government who has targeted labor since long before they took office, and we are feeling attacked on so many levels. And I would say we're missing the face-to-face connection that labor depends on. Hugs and handshakes seem like a distant memory. But this is a solidarity award. That concept for me is much more than a word. It's a feeling of unity among individuals with a common interest, along with mutual support to further those interests. Unions are like family. At times we're in conflict with one another about something, or even a bit dysfunctional if the issues are really tough. My big brother, who was mentioned in my nomination, he and I have frequently disagreed. Maybe not as much as we did when we were kids, but we still disagree, sometimes vehemently. But at the end of the day, we stand together. Families like that, or at least it should be. So I am hopeful for the future of the Alberta Federation of Labor. I know that you all come here to make a difference in the lives of working people, essentially for society as a whole. Solidarity to all of you, and thanks so much for this award. It really means the world to me.